So we do have quite a few questions. I'm going to start with the first one. This was actually emailed in right before the webinar. So this question comes from Jacqueline, and she would like to know, I wonder if Dr. Noska would recommend any books in particular if we wanted to learn more about homeopathy. I would also appreciate recommendations on one or two books on Chinese medicine.
Okay, yeah, I can help you there. I think there's an excellent book that's sort of a primer on what homeopathy is about, and I don't know all the authors' names, but I do know the names of the books. The homeopathy text I would recommend is called Flat Earth Medicine, and I can't remember the author's name, so I apologize for that. But it's a very short book, a really quick read, and he talks about using homeopathy and sort of what the basics of homeopathy are. I really like that book. You know, homeopathy texts are difficult. Certainly the Organon, Organon, which is sort of the Bible of homeopathy, was written by Hahnemann, but it's kind of like reading a manual for putting a stereo together. It's very dry, and it's hard to make heads or tails of. So it is the definitive text, but it's also going to be very difficult to read. But I think there's materia medica out there. Phatak, Phatak, has a materia medica. Constantine Herring, who I referenced in the talk, he has a number of texts. You go and you start looking at some of the older docs that practice homeopathy. There's a lot of texts out there. You just have to sort of look for it. And as far as Chinese medicine is concerned, I think there's probably no easier to comprehend text than a book called The Web That Has No Weaver. I don't remember the name of that author either. It's a little bit thicker of a book, but it's very easy to read, and he really makes a lot of sense of Chinese medicine. I think it's a great first step, first foray into Chinese medical thought. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Those are some wonderful suggestions. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So our next question comes from Elizabeth, and she would like to know, what are the differences between the different types of dilutions? For example, 1M, 1X, 1C doses.
Yeah, so like I pointed out in the talk, I wasn't going to go into much homeopathy potency ideas because it can be a very long topic. But essentially, the letter designation is Roman numerals for how many dilutions there have been. So, for instance, if you have a mother tincture, which we would call sort of patient 0, or the starting point, if you take 1 drop of that mother tincture and you add it to 99 drops of water, right? And you shake that up and you make a remedy, and then you use that as a remedy basis, that would be a 1C remedy. It's 1/100th of the original substance. Does that make sense? And then 1X, X would be 10, right? And then M is 1,000, right? I can't remember the Roman numerals as well. But you make remedies. So if you did that again, right, you took 1 drop of that 1C remedy that you made, and you added it to 99 drops of water and succussed it and did all of the potentizing, you would then have a 2C remedy, right? So very commonly, remedies are given in 6C, 12C, 30C, 1M, 200C. So you can see how very, very small the dosing of homeopathy is in comparison to what we understand as medicine, like 100 milligrams of ibuprofen or something like that, right? It can't even be measured in milligrams. It's so infinitesimal. It's working on a different level.
Great, thank you. That was a really good explanation. I know I'm not super familiar with homeopathy, so it helps to have those dosages explained. Thanks. So thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so Clayton would like to know, is it possible if we could see those two diagrams one more time? Just have those flash up on the screen.
Um,
If
yeah, and I can
possible.
go. I know I can't control. I don't know if I can control it. Oh, let me see. Um,
Yep.
okay, there's
Yep.
the
There's
first.
one. Mm-hmm.
And again, these came from Dr. Tom's text,
Mm-hmm.
which is called Unda Numbers: An Energetic Journey to Homeostasis and Wellness. And you can certainly purchase his book. I think it's a great initial primer on using drainage therapies. It's a text I refer to frequently, and probably will for the rest of my career. So it's another good book that, I mean, it talks a little bit about traditional homeopathy, but it's more focused on drainage therapies. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, it could be a little too in depth for the novice, but I'm sure someone might want to jump out there and uh, and take the plunge, if you will. So there's that
Yeah.
one. And then, I, oh, sorry. And there's the bucket, the body bucket diagram as well.
Wonderful. And also, Clayton, we will be sending out the slides as well, along with the video recording, so you'll be able to reference back to these as well.
Great.
So our next question comes from Linda, and she would like to know, can you use the same methods for pets and animals?
Um, can you use the same method as far as, I guess I need some more clarification there. As far as using homeopathy with pets?
Um, so Linda, if you're still listening, if you want to clarify, do you specifically mean homeopathy or perhaps drainage therapies, or if you wanted to specify which methods you're asking about, that would be great. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I'll
so
answer it based on the
sure.
thought process. Can you use homeopathy and drainage therapies with pets? And the answer is, of course, yes.
Mhm.
There's actually a number of um, homeopathy for dogs and cats. I think that's actually the
Mhm.
name of a book that I've read in the past. I don't own one currently, but at least I don't own a book on homeopathic remedies for dogs and cats, but
Mhm.
it's used frequently. I use it with my own dog all the time. So yeah. And if she wants more clarification,
Wonderful. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, can we still hear you, Dr.
yeah,
Noska?
I'm here. I'm
I
here.
think you cut out. Oh,
Sorry.
there you go. Okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry, I thought we lost you there for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yes, and Linda clarified, and she did say yes, homeopathy and drainage therapies.
And
So
and
great.
the answer is pretty simple yes.
Wonderful. So Jacqueline also wants to know, where did you learn how to use castor oil packs?
Where did I learn how to use castor oil packs? Well, I learned how to use them when I was in medical school. Um, I guess that's the short and sweet answer. But in looking at how do we improve the functionality of the body, we've got to do something that is, a lot of people equate health to um, walking up a staircase, right? As you're walking, you're getting healthier and healthier, which is a pretty good analogy, but I think it's a bit short-sighted. I really think health is more of like a downward escalator that you're walking up. And if you're not doing something actively to get healthier and to improve your health, you're actually going downward. And so um, I like to think of these things that I tell patients to do um, as part of their ability to be walking up the escalator more effectively. And castor oil packs are certainly one of those things. But yeah, I mean, there was a discussion of castor oil packs many times while I was in medical school.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think we have time for about one more question, but if we didn't get to your question today, everybody, feel free to follow up with Dr. Noska, or you can follow up with us. And depending on if we receive a lot of questions, Dr. Noska has expressed that he would do another Q&A session, another live teleseminar if we have a lot of more questions. So just let us know if you have any interest in that, and we'd be happy to set that up. So our last question comes from Heather, and she would like to know, essential oils cancel out homeopathic remedies, but not drainage remedies. How would you dose essential oils and homeopathics and drainage?
Well, that's a great question, and I don't. I think having a blanket statement that essential oils cancel out homeopathic remedies is probably untrue, or um, only partially true, in the sense that if you take them together at the same time, it's probably not a good idea, because you don't want to have all those competing things sort of inside the mouth or on the body in the same place at the same time. But if you separated them in time, and by that I mean 20 minutes even, the likelihood of them having a competing activity in the body is very nil. So uh, I don't think that essential oils completely cancel out homeopathics, but I do recommend that people take homeopathics and drainage therapies, and if it's something like an essential oil or even straight herbal medicine, apart from each other. I tend to recommend to my patients that if they're doing Unda numbers or some type of drainage, that they take them 5 to 10 minutes away from everything else, right? And that may mean that they also need to take another thing 5 to 10 minutes away from everything else. Not to turn their whole morning into taking something and then waiting 5 minutes to take the next thing. That can be kind of annoying. But you've got to set up a system where you're taking things apart from each other and still achieving the best goodness from each specific modality. So they can compete with each other, but I think if you do it in the right way, they don't compete with each other.
Great, that's a wonderful clarification. So like I said, everybody, if we didn't get to your question, please feel free to email us or email Dr. Noska, and we're going to put his email up there on the screen. And so thank you, everybody, for attending our webinar. And thank you so much, Dr. Noska. That was incredibly fascinating, and I feel like I've learned a lot. I wasn't very aware of drainage therapies at all, so thank you so much for that information.
Oh, my pleasure.
And thank you everybody for attending, and if you just keep an eye on your email, you should be signed up to receive our future master lecture webinar invites. So we would love to be able to invite you to that, and you can keep an eye on our Facebook at facebook.com/achs.edu and our Twitter page at the handle at achs.edu. And you can also go on our website at achs.edu to learn more about our certificate in homeopathic consulting program if you're truly interested in learning more about homeopathy and these type of therapies. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and thanks again, Dr. Noska, and everyone have a wonderful Friday evening.